Hello, I'm your host, Norm McKinley, and you're listening to In the Black. Our podcast showcases successful entrepreneurs in the DMV area. We highlight the true stories, their insights to entrepreneurship, and the impact they had in their community. Today, I'm so excited we have an amazing guest. Today, we're talking with Bianca Wise, who is a multi passionate entrepreneur, published author, and CEO of Home Healthcare. Bianca, thank you so much. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Sterling. I'm so happy to be here.
Great. I'm really excited to talk to you. I read your bio on LinkedIn, and you have so many things going on. I think you live like two lives already. So let's get into it. So
Probably about 8. I might be up to 8,
about eight.
right?
Okay, but let's back up some. So let's start off first thing. What exactly is home health care, and what service do you provide?
Sure. So, very, very important. And I am that unsexy business service that people don't realize they need
Right.
until it's like right in their
They
face.
need.
So,
Mm-hmm.
I'm president of Home Helpers Home Care, where we're making life easier for our seniors. So, that's
Okay.
your great aunties, your
Right.
granddads, your moms. And so, we help them stay safe, happy, and thriving in their homes. We're not in
Okay.
assisted living. We actually
Right.
send our caregivers out into the community to
Mm-hmm.
help with personal care services,
Right.
companionship, and light housekeeping services.
Okay. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and like you say, it's one of those things that it's not sexy, exciting, but when you need it, you need it. Myself, I have aging
Exactly.
parents and other aging loved ones, and you want to have that there for you. So that's very, very important. So let me ask, what makes you different from other healthcare agencies? I know you mentioned you go into the house, but talk about how important that is. Because we all know the stats. When you go into, home care, health declines, everything goes down. So, how do you make sure that people are still living their best lives, even at home when they're facing, illness or, God forbid, a terminal illness?
That is a great question. So, the one thing that we all need as humans, and it doesn't matter black, white, old, young,
Mm-hmm.
male, female, we all need each other. And what
Yes.
I mean by that is we thrive as a people from human interaction.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to our elderly people, way before COVID, there was research and studies being done on the
Right.
effects of social isolation and
Mm-hmm.
loneliness. And what happens as we age is we start to just disconnect,
Right.
because we stop working, we
Mm-hmm.
can't do our hobbies that we used to and things of that
Right.
nature. And loneliness sets in. And they could be in a home filled with people that love them, you know,
Mm-hmm.
but they lose the will and they lose
Right.
a sense of purpose. So it's
Mm-hmm.
important to keep engaging and having
Right.
companionship consistently to kind of get them out of that funk or that depression
Mm-hmm.
sometimes.
Right.
And so our caregivers here, they know, like, we
Mm-hmm.
are taking care of people and they
Right.
have to go in with smiles on their face,
Mm-hmm.
be creative with some of our clients,
Right.
and just understand that these are whole grown adults, right?
Mm-hmm.
They were not taking care of children. These
Right.
are people that have lived their lives, and they know when people aren't really there to with passion and
Right.
patience, and we just need to love on them,
Mm-hmm.
and the one thing that sets us apart is our service. And
Right.
I have receipts to back that up. So
Okay.
we just got the Caring Star Excellence Award for
Awesome.
2024, and
Right.
that makes us third year in a row,
Mm-hmm.
top home care
Oh,
agency
awesome. Wow.
across the nation. Yep.
Congrats. Yeah, I think what you said it is really key. My own father had a long illness. He was battling kidney failure. And, just in the hospital, I was amazed by all the nurses and doctors that seemed like they didn't like their job, that they didn't want to be there. And the thing that I always say,
Yep.
like, this is about caring. If you're not, personable, happy to be here, why have this job? So I think that's so important, having that personal touch, that bedside manner. So
Exactly. Bedside manner. That you hit it right on the head.
yeah, it's really, really important, and it means so much, I think, to the patient as well. So let's back up some. So once again, I read your bio, and you started off in the fire department for Baltimore County. So fire department, paramedic to home health care. How did that transition happen?
Oh my goodness. So I love telling this story, right?
Okay.
Because from the surface, people are like, how does that even connect?
Right, right,
And
right.
I'll tell you how. So I joined Baltimore County Fire Department in the early 2000s.
Okay.
I came in as a paramedic firefighter, just loved what I did, right?
Right.
Coming in with the thought that, everything you see on Chicago Fire and
Right,
ER,
right,
like, no,
right.
that is not how it
Not it.
goes in real
Right.
life. So 90% of 911 calls are
Hmm.
non-emergency calls.
Right.
So, and then in the county of Baltimore, there's a huge population of seniors. So
Right.
there are actually more people over the age of 65 than
Hmm.
there are school-age children.
Oh wow.
So what happens is 90% of these non-emergent calls,
Hmm.
a large number of them are seniors that are
Right.
living alone at home. They have no help, no resources, no support. The only
Hmm.
thing they know how to do is call 911.
Right.
So, as a paramedic firefighter, I've walked dogs, I meal prepped, I just sat and
Wow.
had
Everything.
conversations with people. I've climbed under
Right.
beds to get remote controls, like
Wow.
everything that you can think of from
Okay.
a home care perspective, I was doing
Right.
as a first responder.
Hmm.
And then I promoted to lieutenant in
Right.
2012. I was actually the first Black woman promoted
Oh,
in the history
awesome.
of the fire department. And
Okay.
that took my role to now I became liaison because if the EMS people started to see a
Right.
repeat of certain seniors, I would have to now step in and make a
Okay.
referral to Department of Aging to try to
Right.
get these people some type of support.
Okay.
And it was just a revolving door. Like, we take them
Right.
to the hospital, they get the social worker involved, they discharge them back home, and
Hmm.
then here come 911 again. So
Right.
when it was time for me to close that chapter of the fire department, you start to think like, well, what's the next thing?
Right.
I know that I am not employable. I can't go work for
Right.
anybody else. So
Right.
Home care was the next best thing for me.
Okay.
It's a passion. Again, I love taking care of people. I love
Right.
elderly people,
Hmm.
and it's just a great fit.
Okay. Yeah, great story. So I see that transition now. You know what's funny? I've seen some shows, Chicago Fire, 911, different shows where, the paramedics come and they do everything. Somebody trapped in the closet, they want to
Exactly.
talk. So it can be everything. So that's funny to hear that really happens. But when you
Yes.
were
Yes.
saying that, what kept ringing in my head is servant. Being a servant, helping people. And, I think that's key for whatever you do. Even in my business, I teach and coach people how to use digital marketing to improve their careers in their companies. But at the end of the day, it's about service, about helping those people achieve things. So that's amazing. So going back to that servant, have you always been that person? How did that come about?
Now, in hindsight, yes, I've
Okay.
always been that
Right.
person that wanted to serve in some type
Mm-hmm.
of capacity. Now, being
Right.
younger, I didn't know what it looked like,
Mm-hmm.
but I always tend to be that person where I want to help. Like,
Right.
let me help. Let me figure
Mm-hmm.
out how I can help, or let me figure out how I
Yeah.
can help you help yourself, right?
Right.
Um, and so, yeah, a service attitude has always been,
Mm-hmm.
from day one. Um,
Right.
the high school that I graduated from, it set me on a trajectory for
Okay.
healthcare. And
Right.
my very first certification was a certified nurse assistant.
Oh,
So all
awesome.
of this
Okay.
comes like full circle now
Right.
to have about 62 certified nurse assistants
Mm-hmm.
on staff right now
Right.
helping. So um, I think it's Muhammad Ali or somebody said
Okay.
service is the rent that we pay for our stay here on earth.
Mm, okay.
And then
I like
I
that.
absolutely align with that.
Right. That's awesome. So I know starting a business is tough. I'm a business owner myself. There's always challenges things that pop up, but what are some things that happen in your business that you just didn't expect that kind of set you back, but you had to bounce back from? So what are some challenges you face in your business?
Wow. Oh my goodness. So I'm going through one right now as
Okay.
we speak. And I think the thought process with a lot of people is, I'm sorry, my dog is doing crazy stuff. Um,
Okay.
that when you reach a certain level of success that you're immune to
Right.
challenges, and that is absolutely not the case. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, um, I think what happens is we all just have to choose our heart, right? So when I
Yeah.
look back and with the challenges that I'm having in business and have
Right.
had, how much harder has that been from
Mm-hmm.
fighting fires or saving lives,
Right.
right?
Right.
Like all of this is hard. I was about to
Mm-hmm.
cuss. Well, all of this is hard,
right.
right?
Right.
So we have to choose
Right.
our heart, and then we have
Mm-hmm.
to do hard better.
Right.
So challenges across the board,
Mm-hmm.
access to capital, right?
Mm.
So that
Yes.
thing
Yes.
about minority owned businesses and
That's
women
true.
owned businesses being the least funded,
right.
trust me, my picture is about to be in the dictionary next to the definition, okay? So,
right.
um, because you can't run a business without working capital, and especially in a business, a service oriented business,
Right.
there's a lot of overhead, there's a lot of insurance, there's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
payroll burden, while
Right.
you're steady trying to grow. And we do have two locations. So we serve Baltimore and Montgomery County.
Oh, awesome.
So
Okay.
that has been the top, I'll say, challenge for me. When I first started going to get open, I had a 9-month delay with getting licensed.
Oh,
Like
wow.
that was straight crazy, right? Because you start a business thinking that you open your doors and everything.
Mm-hmm.
No. So it took me
Right.
about 9 months to actually get open and operational. And then guess what? 6 months later, a global pandemic shows up. So
right. Right.
so I've had challenges, but again, I feel
Mm-hmm.
like if you're passionate about starting, growing, scaling, a service or product, you're going to make it, right?
Right.
You just have to have a positive mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And what I've learned over the last year and a half or so, you always have to take inventory of the people who are around you.
Right.
Because when you do get into challenges or hiccups or
Mm-hmm.
business is starting to do crazy stuff, you need that those people around you to be like, hey, nope, keep your head
Right.
up. Hey, no, let me connect you to this person. The people that's just going to keep motivating you. You
Mm-hmm.
cannot have anybody, around you that is discouraging or
Right.
making you feel bad or judging you
Mm-hmm.
for, decisions that may have, you just have to have a tight
Right.
ride or die team.
Mm-hmm.
And learn from your mistakes.
Right.
What they say, new levels, new devils.
New
So
devils. you
when
got it.
you
Right.
get to seven
Mm-hmm.
figures, in gross revenue, which is where we are now, this is
Mm-hmm.
a whole nother level of
Right.
conversation,
Right.
all kinds of stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
always remain learning, always remain coachable,
Right.
always remain open minded, expand your network, ask
Mm-hmm.
questions, ask for help, all of that.
Right. 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 I've heard you what you said, and I have to remind myself sometimes that everything is hard. And like you said, you're choosing what's going to be hard. So everything is hard. Raising a kid's hard. Starting a business is hard.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter. So yeah, you're right. And I think a lot of times people get discouraged because something is hard, and it's like, oh, this is my calling, my passion. It shouldn't be hard. But I found that that's not true.
Nope.
Like you said, no matter what level you at, there's going to be struggles and challenges, and especially when you grow. I mean, having an apartment is different than having a townhouse, to having a single family home. There's going to be more challenges,
Exactly.
more repairs. So I love what you said, and I think people would be so much better off if we just adopt that mindset that there's going to be challenges, there's going to be struggles, but you take those in stride and keep going. So, thank you for that. So we talked about the challenges, and sometimes I get tired of talking about challenges. But what are some of the successes you had? You mentioned that you've been recognized by various organizations, but talk about some of the big wins you had.
Oh my God. And so that's why you can't focus on
Yes.
losses, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or challenges, because the
Right.
wins always outweigh,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So we've been open and operational for 4 years.
Okay.
In four
Congrats.
years, I
Mm-hmm.
have grown to 2 locations.
Awesome.
Again, we're a little over 1 million in revenue, which statistics show, and I just learned this over the summer, that only 4% of
Yeah.
women
Yeah.
own businesses reach
Mm-hmm.
revenues of 1 million or more. So that's a
Right.
win.
Yes.
Um, I actually was recognized earlier this year by
Right.
Entrepreneurship 100.
Okay.
Um, um, so I was awarded in the category of biggest impact.
Okay.
I also received an award from the Tau Delta Zeta chapter of Zeta Phi Beta
Okay.
for a Sister Who Serves award earlier this
Awesome.
year. Again, we've won at the home care
Mm-hmm.
agency. We've won home care provider of choice 3rd year in a row.
Right.
And my first book
Yes.
released
Right. That's awesome.
November 11th. So I became a published
Right.
author
Okay.
after a 2-year journey of writing.
Awesome.
Yep.
Let's talk about that. So, how does it feel to be a new author?
Oh my goodness. Like another level, right? So
Right.
it's exciting because I have the belief that we are just always, as people, supposed to
Mm-hmm.
be transforming and
Right.
expanding. We're not
Mm-hmm.
meant to be in a box.
Right.
I've lived most of my life outside of any boxes. So
Right.
um, the biggest competition for me is myself. So every
Right.
day I wake up and I'm like, okay, what can I
What can I
do
do?
to just
Right.
elevate myself a little bit more? So
Let's
writing this
back
book,
up 1 second. But the title of the book is "The Playbook of a Mind Snob: Mastering Your Mind for Success." So let's break
exactly,
down that title first, because first when I saw it, the first thing that stuck out to me was snob. So explain that title, and what does it mean?
exactly. So Snob actually stands for seeking new opportunities
Okay.
boldly.
Oh, I like that.
And so, yeah,
Right.
because so this book is actually a
Hmm.
physical manifestation of my life.
Okay.
And so when people ask, how did you reach success and how do
Right.
you get the will to keep going and the resilience? And it's like, it's my mindset.
Mm,
That's
I
it.
like that. Right.
um, I'm very meticulous about
Hmm.
protecting my mindset. And so
Right.
sometimes it can come off a little snobbish
Okay.
if, I'm in a room with people and they talking a bunch of crazy stuff and I'm not for it. Like I can disconnect real quick.
Right.
I'm not entertaining stuff like that
Hmm.
because that's discouraging. That's depression. That's all the low vibrational stuff.
Right.
Keep me in the high,
Hmm.
superior level thinking category.
Right.
So that's how the snobbish part came about. But
Okay.
again, it actually speaks for people that are just always transformative and
Right.
expanding and wanting to grow and
Hmm.
help others get to, their successes as well.
Right. I like that. So the power of the mind is powerful. It runs everything. Two people can have the same skills, talents, abilities, but the way you think rules everything. So talk about that. How can you master your mind? Because you know how it is. You're about to go to bed. You get a bad email from a client. You're thinking about the worst and negativity, but how can you set your mind on positive things?
It's a process. So it's
Hmm.
understanding that we have to reset and refocus,
Right.
not just daily, but
Constantly.
honestly, hour by hour.
Yes, you got it. You got it.
It's kind of like bathing. Like we don't get up and take a bath one day and
Hmm.
just be like, oh, okay, I'm good. No, like we
Right.
have to reset that
Mm-hmm.
and do that consistently and
Right.
develop great habits,
Mm-hmm.
because you're right, the mind is so powerful, but for a large amount of people, we
Mm-hmm.
believe that the mind controls us, and it's
Right.
the opposite.
Right.
We control our
Control the mind.
mind.
Right.
And as we practice, it's
Mm-hmm.
practice, it's consistency. We're never
Right.
ever going to be able to just disrupt and stop all the
Mm-hmm.
little bad stuff,
Right.
all the stuff that
Right.
absolutely does not serve us. Is, you said a client calls and we're laying in bed thinking about worst case scenarios. Like, we
Right.
can
Right.
never
Right.
stop
Right.
that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we need to learn how to replace,
Right.
so we can now get ourselves to a more positive outlook on
Right.
things.
Yeah,
And so
I
the
like that.
playbook,
Okay. Mm-hmm.
outlines 9 pillars
Okay.
that I put into practice in my
Right.
life, that helps me continue with
Okay.
a positive growth mindset.
Right. Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, myself, one thing I've done to control my mindset, I've stopped watching a lot of TV and programs, and especially the news. I don't watch the news anymore
Let's turn
because,
it off. Yes. For all the listeners, turn the news off.
yes, the news, its only job is to scare you. There's going to be another pandemic. All the companies aren't hiring no more. It's in the world, interest rates. So, yeah, I found that you really have to be careful of what you let inside. Even for social media, on Instagram, scrolling sometimes, I'm like, what am I looking at? How is this benefiting
All the
me?
media, right?
Yes,
And so
exactly.
that's what I mean, that we hold the power, right?
Hmm.
Because we have the power. You can watch a news segment and be
Right.
like, man, oh my God, like the world is ending. Or you can just pick up the remote
Right.
and turn it off,
Turn it off. You got it.
right?
Hmm.
Social media, we have the ability to actually curate our timelines now.
Right. Hmm.
So if I don't want to see too much of, death, destruction, depression,
Right.
let me look at puppies or
Right.
elephants or
Hmm.
food, something that really brings joy back instead of all of this other craziness.
Right, right. So we're going to wrap up, but if you had to go back and speak to yourself when you're 18 years old, what's the one piece of advice that you would give to yourself?
Relax.
Relax. Right.
It's all going to work. Like, I
Hmm.
just saw a meme on social media that was like,
Right.
God always takes care of everything. I just panic first. So
Right. Right.
just relax. It's all going
Hmm.
to work out. As
Right.
long as you get up and set the right intentions every day, you don't
Right.
set out to harm people.
Hmm.
It'll all come together. It's not your timing,
Right.
so you got to be patient and
Hmm.
just relax.
Right. Yeah. I love that. I mean, that's a whole sermon right there. Just relax. So tell people, how can they find you, find your company, and then how can they purchase your book?
Sure. So, as far as home care services are concerned,
Hmm.
you can hit up the website at www.homehelpershomecare.com, or you can give us a call at 410
Okay.
944 4380. We're answered 24 hours around the clock to assist and help with your home care needs. Now, as far as my book, you can follow me on social media, Facebook, Instagram, at The Mindset Snob. Um, I am a fun, jovial person, so you're gonna get a lot over on my
Right.
on my social media.
And your
And
book,
to
is it
purchase,
available on Amazon?
yeah. So my
Oh,
book is
awesome.
actually available on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and Books a
Everywhere.
Million.
Right.
Everywhere books are sold. Yep.
Right. Awesome. Well, thank you, Bianca. I mean, this was a great conversation, learning more about your story, your transition into being CEO, and just your book. The mind, the power of the mind, and how you can set your intentions and get what you want. So, thank you again for taking time to speak with me today.
Thank you, Sterling. This was fun.
Great. So I hope you enjoyed today's conversation. Be sure to tune in next week as we interview another successful minority entrepreneur in the DV area. So I want to leave you one closing thought I would like to say. So if your business is going to survive and thrive, you need to think outside the box in order to stay in the black. See you next time. Bye.